everyone, parents and students, welcome to our online classroom. I am here with Barbara Lomer, one of our phenomenal tutors here at A+. My name is Joelle. I am one of the directors at A+. And today's tutorial is going to be sharing a little bit about the benefits of iCollaborate, as well as some demos on how we use it for different kinds of test prep and tutoring here at A+. So let's get started. So here's a few advantages of using iCollaborate in a tutoring or test prep setting. It is entirely private. It has many audio, video, screen share, annotation capabilities. You can see I'm using my pointer tool here. And it takes all of these different capabilities that in a lot of circumstances you would have to use multiple platforms for, and puts them all together inside of one platform to make things much easier for both the teachers and tutors as well as the students to use. Work can be saved and accessed in between sessions. This is really huge. So if you are a tutor or a student, you can go back into the online iCollaborate room in between your test prep or tutoring sessions to look back through your notes or look back through the materials that the tutor has gone over with you. And these sessions can be recorded. So if for whatever reason your student would like that, then they can go back and go through that session again in that recording. So our next whiteboard up here, you'll notice there's several whiteboards up here at the top. Each one is different and each one is interactive. When do we use iCollaborate here at A+? We use it for our one-on-one test prep programs, whether it's the SAT, PSAT, ACT, or GRE programs. We use it for the one-on-one sessions in our Crush course, which is our hybrid course that incorporates both small group sessions as well as one-on-one sessions. And then we use it for HSPT, SSAT, and ISEE test preparation. You see now I'm painting on the whiteboard, my little orange star there. We use it for all different kinds of academic tutoring and academic coaching, as well as for specialized reading, math, and essay programs like the Wilson Reading Program or the Math Teachers Press Program. So now Barbara is going to walk me through what might be a typical SAT session. So take it away, Barbara.
All right, so what we have on this whiteboard, I'm actually going to go to the top here, is a copy of one of our standard test prep books. So if you take an SAT course with A+, you will get a hard copy of this particular book. It has various content information and a very large number of exercises. And so for today, I picked one very typical word problem on page 74. Right here, so I'm going to mark it. And Joelle and I will now work through this word problem. This being an SAT word problem, the first step will be to assign variables to the parameters in the problem. So how about Joelle, can you assign variables for me?
Yes. So I'm going to click my pointer and paint tool here so I can write on the whiteboard. And anything that I write on the whiteboard, Barbara is going to be able to see, as well as vice versa. Anything that she writes is going to show up on my screen as well. So we're going to do, let's do, I think I'm going to write on the whiteboard. Let's see what happens here. Here we go. We're going to do H for hardcover, and then P for paperback. There we go.
Okay, nice. So for our word problem, Joelle here assigned variables to our parameters. I'm going to double check what the question actually wants from us, which is how many hardcover versions we have sold. And then as a next step, we will have to translate the story into math. And to this end, we look how many sentences we have and what information we have. So for starters, we're selling 70 copies of both hardcover and paperback. So together, there have to be 70. So I can say, using choice variables, we have whatever how many hardcover versions plus however many paperbacks together have to be 70. And as a second step, we have to use the 917 somehow. The 917, that's the total amount of money it will cost to buy those books. I don't know yet how many hard copies I will sell, but I know they're $15 each. So whatever how many I sell times 15 is the contribution of the hardcover versions to total sales. For the paperbacks, it's $11.50 per book. Same thing. I don't know how many I have, but I know they're $11.50 each. So P times $11.50, which I'm just going to shorten to 11.5 right now. So now I have two equations. And if Joelle remembers from Algebra 1, how do I solve a two-equation system?
By elimination or substitution.
Very good. Okay. I should make it do both of them now, but
yeah, right.
Do one. So we're going to use substitution to make our life easy. And since we need to retain the age, because that's what we want at the end, we're going to substitute out P. So Joelle, can you take the first equation, this one, and solve it for P?
Okay, so it's going to be... Oh, goodness. There we go. P equals 70 minus H.
Okay, nice. Now, since we're doing substitution, we'll take 70 minus H and we will substitute into that second equation. So instead of writing P, I'm not going to write 70 minus H. So, and I will immediately now turn the format around, by the way, to make it look more like a math problem. So 15H, customarily variable goes second, plus 11.5. And now, very important, we have an expression, so we have to set our parentheses. Otherwise, we do not distribute correctly, and the College Board will anticipate this, okay? Equals 917. And now it's just middle school math. You can distribute in 11.5, and then you use your calculator to combine like terms, and you're going to come out at the end at H equals 32. And that's a grid-in problem, so we can write it up here. Looks just like the actual test. And then just like in the actual test, we're going to have to bubble it, because otherwise it doesn't count. Voila. Okay?
Great.
Next page, I have another open-ended math problem. And let's see if Joelle remembers how to do this one too.
I do not remember how to get started with this type of word problem.
Okay, so it's a word problem again, but there clearly is only one sentence. So it's not going to be a two-equation system. Instead, what we have, it's a specialized word problem that requires a specialized equation, which we need to memorize. And here's our equation. So I typed this equation actually in LaTeX into the program. So you can write very nice mathematical symbols, including for college level material. We can write integrations and very weird matrix symbols, anything you want, really.
Wow.
So here's the equation.
Okay.
And now we have to ask ourselves what we actually want. And what we want is then, so a time. So we will rearrange this equation for time. So I'm going to now do that. So I get time equals distance, abbreviate D, over speed, which I'm going to abbreviate S.
Okay.
All right, that should help.
Yes, for sure. So then we're looking at the time. Time is equal to the distance, which is 100 miles. Over the speed, which is 50 miles per hour. Okay, and then that is 2 hours. So this is equal to 2 hours. So if we take she left at 9:15 a.m. and add the 2 hours onto it, then the answer is going to be 11:15 a.m.
Great, perfect. All right.
Yay.
Now on the actual SAT, it would be a choice question. If it would be a grid-in question, I could now give you a grid, and I put it right on. I can put it right on top of the question. Here, that would not be a grid-in question because you can't get 11:15 in here. But that's another thing we can do.
Okay.
So that's how we usually work on the SAT. So we can do this for the math section and also for the reading section. We can upload large SAT text and work paragraph per paragraph through the entire thing. Now on the next slide, I have an example of something we see a lot in academic tutoring. So typically students come in once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and they have a very specific list of questions they want to answer. So they have homework from their teachers they didn't quite understand. They have a test prep sheet, and there's certain things they didn't quite understand. And then they might show me something like this. So they would upload the worksheet provided by the teacher directly into iCollaborate. The student can do it himself. We can upload many different files, .tiff, .pdf, .jpeg, .doc. Lots of different files will work. So basically anything your teacher may give your child can be uploaded. If for some reason you would have a hard time with it, you could also email it to us and we upload it. But most of the time it's not necessary. So here, Joelle had got a worksheet from her teacher, which is due tomorrow, by the way. And she had some questions about it.
Yeah.
What problems do you have with this worksheet, Joelle?
I'm able to do most of these, but the ones that I'm struggling with are I and K. And you see how I used the pointer tool here to point these out to my tutor so she knows exactly what I need help with.
Okay, so I marked these questions for myself. And now comes the part that I really like the best about iCollaborate when it comes to teaching. Because academic teaching, you don't necessarily know beforehand what your student will need today. Sometimes the students themselves don't know what they need today. So they show me questions they had a hard time with. And I look at it and I realize, well, what my student needs today is a review of acid nomenclature, a particular form of chemical nomenclature. That requires a particular table. This table can be accessed very quickly and very spontaneously in our in-house database. So now I'm going to go in the database, I'm going to find this table for Joelle and put it in our whiteboard. I'm going to open a new whiteboard for her. So I'm going to say, see here, Joelle, what you need to solve this problem, you need to, first of all, memorize those, okay? For the test, you really, really have to memorize those polyatomic ions. There should be some in your textbook. If you do not have them in your textbook, you can take a screenshot now, or you can save this page and come back to it after our session, and make sure you memorize all of those. Okay, so going back to the actual homework, I'm going to start with K. HNO2. I'm going to write it right here. HNO2. That is an acid. In order to name it, we have to find the polyatomic component on our list. And so NO2, that's right here. We can ignore as a charge. So this thing is called nitrite. To name it, we are interested in the ending on the name, which is the ITE. There's also 8s. You see here's an 8, but we need ite right now. And then the rules are very simple. If an acid has a polyatomic ion that ends on an ite, ITE, the name of the acid will end on OUS, so US. So this particular acid will become nitrous acid. Nitrous acid. If there would be an 8, ATE, the acid in its full name would end on ic. So 8 is ic. So if that guy would be HNO3, it becomes nitric acid. Very nasty acid. If you look at some of these horror movies, sometimes they dissolve people in this. Okay, it's very nasty. Very, very nasty acid, okay? Don't use this at home. Okay, so I'm going to type now my solution here. So, it's nitrous acid. I'm going to type it so my student doesn't have a hard time reading it. Move it around a little bit. Okay, and now Shreda's going to do the other one, HClO3.
Okay. So
write here one more time, HClO3. Go find it in the table.
Okay, so ClO3 is over here in the table. And like you just talked about, this is the ATE ending. So that means it's going to end in an ic. So then it's not, rather than being chlorate, if we go back to here, then I can type my answer in and say that it is chloric acid.
Chloric acid, very good. Okay, so another form to share work from school with us would be to screen share directly. There's some Chromebooks will not be able to do that, but if you have a laptop or a desktop, you can screen share directly. And so I just gave this example of what would be like a typical test review sheet your child may get before a test. And then she can share it with me, and we can start listing, okay, we probably should go over this, we probably should go over that. And then I might give her some references where to look up additional information. So that's basically how we work academically with students.
Great. Awesome. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for putting this together and bringing your expertise. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that when you choose A+ for your test prep or tutoring needs, that iCollaborate will be able to add a lot of value to that. So we hope you all are well. We'll talk to you later.